Elon Musk's net worth by about $70 billion to close to $320 billion.
After revolutionizing the space race and electric cars, the world's richest man is now promising a Twitter makeover.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
A boy from South Africa, quiet and curious, spent his childhood buried in books and obsessed with computers. At 12, he created a video game and sold it, not for millions, just $500. But that small moment was the beginning of something massive. That boy was Elon Musk. Today, he's a billionaire known around the world. Tesla, SpaceX, X. But before the fame, the rockets, and the wild headlines, Elon was just a dreamer with a second-hand computer and a belief that technology could change everything. This is not a story of luck. This is a story of risk, obsession, and sleepless nights, of turning a tiny startup into $1 million deal. Before PayPal, before Mars, there was Zip2, a simple idea that would launch Musk into a new world. In this video, we're diving into the rise of Elon Musk, how he made his first million, and the crazy journey that got him there. If you've ever wondered how success really begins, it's right here. And it might not be what you expect. This is the rise of Elon Musk, how he made his first million. Elon Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa, in 1971. He wasn't your average kid. While other kids were outside playing sports, Elon was inside reading science fiction novels, teaching himself about rockets, and diving deep into computer manuals. At just 10 years old, he got his hands on his first computer, a Commodore VIC-20. He was hooked. In just a few months, he taught himself to program. And by the age of 12, he had created his own video game called Blastar. He sold it to a computer magazine for $500. That may not sound like much today, but for a 12-year-old in the 1980s, it was a small victory. It was the first sign that Elon had something special. He wasn't just dreaming, he was building, but life wasn't always smooth. Elon was often bullied at school. He was small, quiet, and different. He once ended up in the hospital after a group of boys threw him down a flight of stairs. Still, he never let that stop him. Even back then, Elon believed the world could be changed with ideas and technology, and he knew he didn't want to stay in South Africa forever. At 17, Elon left South Africa and moved to Canada to avoid mandatory military service and to find better opportunities. He enrolled at Queen's University and later transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the US. At Penn, he studied physics and economics, two very different fields, but both connected to how the world works. Elon wasn't just interested in making money. He wanted to understand how things worked and how to change them. While in college, Elon and his roommate rented a big house and turned it into a nightclub to make extra money. They charged $5 per guest, brought in a DJ, and packed hundreds of students into the place. Elon didn't party much. He spent most nights in his room, reading or coding, but the hustle was there. Even then, he had a bigger plan. He believed three things would shape the future: the internet, renewable energy, and space exploration. And he wanted to be a part of all of them. In 1995, Elon dropped out of a PhD program at Stanford just 2 days after starting. The internet was booming, and he didn't want to miss it. Instead of studying, he started building. Together with his brother Kimball Musk, he launched a startup called Zip2. It was meant to help newspapers and local businesses get online. A digital business directory with maps and guides. Sounds simple now, but back then, this was revolutionary. They had no money, no office, and barely any support. Elon coded day and night, and they rented a small space to work. He didn't even have a proper apartment. He slept under his desk and showered at the YMCA nearby. Zip2 started small, but it grew quickly. They pitched their idea to newspapers and slowly started landing deals. Eventually, big names like the New York Times and Chicago Tribune signed up. Investors took notice. In 1999, after 4 years of grinding, their company was bought by Compaq for $307 million. Elon was only 28 years old when the deal closed. His share, $22 million. He had made his first million and then some. You might think that's where Elon would relax, buy a mansion, and disappear into luxury. Nope, he didn't even take a break. Instead, he poured $10 million into his next idea, X.com, an online banking and payments platform. It was one of the first of its kind, and Elon believed it would completely change how people handled money. But things didn't go smoothly. The company grew fast, but it also clashed with another startup called Confinity. The two companies eventually merged, and the result became something you probably know, PayPal. Elon was the largest shareholder, but the company's board eventually replaced him as CEO. Still, when PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion in 2002, Elon walked away with $180 million. Most people would retire at that point. Elon wasn't most people. With his PayPal money, Elon didn't buy yachts or islands. Instead, he invested in his childhood dreams, space, and electric cars. He started SpaceX in 2002 with a bold vision to make space travel cheaper and eventually colonize Mars. Most people thought it was crazy. He had no experience in aerospace. Rockets are expensive, and every failed launch costs millions. The first 3 SpaceX rockets failed. One more failure would have meant bankruptcy. But in 2008, on their 4th try, they finally succeeded. That same year, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. At the same time, Elon was also working on Tesla, which he joined in 2004. The company wanted to prove that electric cars could be fast, stylish, and fun. But Tesla also faced massive problems, technical issues, production delays, and near bankruptcy during the 2008 financial crisis. Elon used his own money to keep the company alive. He once said he was borrowing money for rent, even after being a millionaire and then a multi-millionaire. That's how much he believed in his vision. Eventually, things turned around. Tesla released the Model S, a hit with both critics and customers. The company grew rapidly, and so did Elon's reputation. With Tesla and SpaceX running full speed, Elon could have stopped there, but he didn't. He went on to start the Boring Company, which focuses on building underground tunnels to ease traffic in major cities. He launched Neuralink, aiming to connect the human brain with computers. And in 2022, he shocked the world by buying Twitter, now rebranded as X, for $44 billion. Even as his companies grew and his net worth skyrocketed, Elon kept pushing forward, often taking on projects that others thought were impossible. Looking back, that first $500 from a video game sale and the $22 million from Zip2 were just the beginning, but those early moments mattered. Zip2 wasn't a billion-dollar idea. It was a stepping stone, a test of grit, patience, and vision. What makes Elon Musk's story so unique isn't just the money. It's that every dollar he earned was reinvested into something bolder, something riskier. He didn't stop at success. He used it as fuel. That's the real story behind Elon Musk's first million. It wasn't luck. It wasn't timing. It was the result of obsession, sacrifice, and the refusal to play it safe. Elon Musk's journey to his first million wasn't built on luck. It was the result of relentless curiosity, bold decisions, and the courage to keep pushing forward even when the odds were stacked against him. From coding video games at age 12 to turning Zip2 into a multi-million-dollar company, Elon's story reminds us that big dreams are possible, but only if you're willing to take risks and make sacrifices along the way. But the story didn't stop with Zip 2. It was only the beginning. SpaceX, Tesla, PayPal, Neuralink, The Boring Company, Elon's vision continues to evolve, and his influence shapes not just tech, but the future of humanity. So, what can we learn from his journey? Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or someone chasing their own dreams, remember this: the road to success is never easy, but it's worth it. If this sparked something in you, don't just scroll away. Like, drop a comment, and hit subscribe to join the movement as we unpack the minds reshaping our world. Now, it's your turn. What part of Elon's story fired you up the most? What made you think, wait, maybe I could do something legendary too? Tell us in the comments. We actually read them. This is just the beginning, because Control Elon isn't just a channel. It's a launchpad for dreamers, doers, and future disruptors like you. Stay curious, stay bold, and remember, even Elon started with an idea. You might just be next.